What's going on, guys? Welcome back to fucking. I hit the mic stand. It's
You gotta pull these for all the bloopers.
oh, definitely. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Off Grid Podcast. Today we have the Jacob Ballard, Florida's best media man.
Jesus
our
Christ.
best media man. What's going on, dude?
What's up? Nothing. Just chilling. Sunday, right after FD New Jersey. You know,
Yep,
planning our next adventure in a week and a half.
something like that. 4th of July drift
Yeah.
HQ, which should be
Excited.
sick. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
It's
So-
really, really cool. You went last year, right?
Yeah, I shot last year. My girlfriend and I went. We did a 18 or 20-hour day. Got up at like 3:30 in the morning. Left, went to the airport, flew out to Atlanta, shot for a bunch of the homies. Drove back to the airport, flew back, got home at like 11 or 12 p.m.
Hell
or
yeah.
like midnight rather.
Extremely inefficient trip.
Absolutely. But I wanted to make my presence known at the event, so just kind of pushed to make it happen and just show up.
Hell yeah. Well,
So-
hopefully it'll be more chill this year. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're
I
going
hope
out
so.
there with us. So it'll be sick. We got like a cool like cabin Airbnb for the week.
Yeah, that'll be
So we
sick.
can
I'm
hang
excited
out.
for that.
Yeah.
Everything you told me from last year about that whole thing is gonna be sick.
Yeah. For us at least, like everything about that trip that's not at the track is the best part.
No,
It's
absolutely.
like we're staying at like a family friend's like cabin, Airbnb, and like all kind of cool stuff you can do on their property, and just there's like a bunch of waterfalls and state parks nearby, some off-roading we can get into with the GX, so it'll be pretty sweet.
I'm excited for all that stuff, like filming all of that off
Yeah.
track stuff, because everyone knows what like a car drifting looks like. Like you can only make or shoot that so much, but like all the off track stuff is what I'm like most excited for with the trip, I think.
Definitely. Well, for the people who don't really like know who you are or your background, kind of
Yep.
give us a little quick rundown, like what you do, how long you been doing it.
I'm Jacob Ballard, or known as Variant Imaging. I've been shooting automotive photography and now videography for literally a decade. So my basis in photography started like in 7th grade with like portrait work for like newspaper, journalism, yearbook stuff. And then as I got out of like high school and like finding myself, I guess, I got into like automotive culture. So yeah, I've been shooting that for like 10 years now. So on and
And-
off, but yeah.
And just recently, you
Mhm.
took the leap, sent it
Yeah.
like full time, like
Yeah, that would have been like 3 months ago ish, somewhere around there.
what kind of got you to that point? Because like you shot for so long
Mm-hmm.
doing freelance stuff, but it took, not in a bad way, but it took you so long to like take the leap and send it. So like what made you want to do it? Like what was like the final pushover that you were like, I'm gonna follow this dream, like and commit?
I kind of worked for like a big corporation company, and the balance between personal life and work life wasn't like in line with like what I wanted out of myself and my like craft, I guess. And because it was also in the automotive space, anything that was like a large event for them, it always fell on the same weekend as other events for like drifting or anything else that I wanted to attend to. So getting those days off or whatever it may be, every event always happened on the same weekend. So it was nearly impossible for me to attend all the events that I wanted to. And then over time, I kind of like balanced the pros and cons of both and decided that I was going to take the jump to pursue full-time freelance to make all of those things happen for
Hell yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Which you made the decision to do that just before we met, like when
Yeah.
our first meeting.
Yeah. So like a week before we met at Foxtail to discuss like this season and like us moving forward, like for future stuff too.
Before like that was the
Yeah.
meeting for people who don't know. Like
Yeah,
we had
that
like
was it.
never discussed. There was
Mhm.
nothing in agreement yet.
Nope.
Like that was like the kind of like, hey,
Mhm.
here's what I want to do. Here's what
Yep.
I want to do. Like let's see if it works.
So I had talked to like a couple other drivers as well. So I had like a game plan on how I was going to make things happen. But it was definitely like a bit of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So very stressful at first, but yeah, then a week after I literally like left my job, a week after we met, got everything rolling for the 2024 season and then future pushing onward. And that was, I don't know, that was sick. Like
Hell yeah.
We
How long ago was that? That was
yeah, that would have been like the 2 months ago mark.
2 months ago.
It was
And
literally
we've done like 3 or 4 events together already, which
yeah,
is sick.
yeah. It was what, like 3 weeks before Texas.
Yeah, it was
Like
yeah,
we
was
had
Texas
it,
the
yeah,
first event?
yeah. We had the meeting, and you were like, we kind of need to figure out what we're doing, like kind of like right now, because like we
Yeah.
leave for Texas in like 2.5, 3 weeks.
Damn, I didn't
And
realize it was that close.
yeah, it was really close in timeline. So
Yeah, which is crazy because the Texas trip was not like a very simple trip. Like
no,
we like left
Mhm.
state for like 7 to 10 days, like
yeah,
or
that
something
was
like that.
7 full days, or no, 8 full days.
Yeah.
And that was nonstop. Like the entire trip was just us go 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 go.
Yeah, it was
Like,
crazy. It was such a cool experience though.
yeah, like the mental reset after that. Like people always say, like, oh, you're just carrying a camera, like you're just taking photos, you're just shooting video, like, and you're just sitting out in the sun. But like the mental reset from like a full week of like constantly thinking, constantly working, producing something, like it took me a full week to reset, like to get my like to feel rested again after
Right.
that.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe a lot of media people don't know like what the process is like when you join like a motorsports team, like to go out on a trip like that, because like
Yep.
not only are you shooting, but like you're like editing. We're like planning and making content as the minutes go by every day. I come out off the track. I'm like, hey Jacob, like I need you to pull this footage from this camera, this and this, and then we need to make a reel so like it can go up
Done
in
in
an
up.
hour and a half before practice starts.
Yep.
Like there needs to be like an in between,
Yep.
you know, something for social media, which I think probably a lot of people don't understand. That's what happens when you kind of
Yep.
dive into that level of shooting for like a dedicated team at an event where content has to be put out while it's fresh.
Yep.
You know,
Well,
it's all
still people are
going
still
on.
thinking about it, because like a week after an event happens, no one's thinking about, like right now, no one's thinking about LS Fest Texas and what happened in the past. That's like,
Yeah,
you know, now what, like a month ago, no one's thinking about that. So getting the content up within a time frame for people to still think of, that it's still fresh on their mind, relevancy. People want to feel like FOMO is like the easiest way to like put it. Like if you get stuff out while it's happening, people can live that moment at the same
Yeah,
time
and
through
kinda live
social
it
media.
through you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
no, for sure. What has been your what's been your favorite moment like out of the events we've done so far? Like since we started working together, like what's been like the best moment or memory, whether it's like has to do with shooting or not do with shooting? Like
Honestly, it kind of related to shooting, but kind of not at the same time. But like getting to Texas and like meeting up with Pat and Swan as soon as we got there, and just seeing both of them like light up and like get super excited that we were like like we had made it and we were there with them, like just to chill even before the event started. Like
yeah, because
that was
Pat's
sick.
like one of our best friends. So like
Yeah.
the whole time we're there, he's like, y'all need to hurry up.
Yeah,
You need
he's
to
like,
get
where are
here
you at?
faster.
Where are you at?
Why haven't you left
We're
Florida
like, dude,
yet?"
we're
Like,
eating food because we've been in the car for 10 hours and we haven't, like, we stopped like one time.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's unacceptable. Where are you?
No, Pat's good. We just we just shot his episode yesterday. We watched FD together, so that was cool. So outside of us, like since you've started shooting motorsports, which you've been shooting motorsports for 10 years, or cars for 10 years,
10
motorsports
years.
for like
So FD, I guess, or FD Orlando, like 2015 was the first time that I shot like motorsports per se. Like I had shot drifting at OSW prior to that, but like I can go back and find files from FD Orlando that I, like no media pass or anything, but I was walking through the pits and I primarily shot pit stuff for FD Orlando. So I've got some pretty cool photos like of grid, like car staging and stuff that I could probably like send you or something.
yeah, that'd be sick.
But yeah, FD Orlando 2015, and then stuff prior to that with like just friends and local homies and all that. But yeah.
So 9 years in drifting, what's been like the best memory for you media wise?
Oh God. That's a tough one. I think like I would have to say like a destination-esque like trip, like for media specifically. Like I would say shooting at Lime Rock Park was pretty big. My grandfather drove like SCCA and then like into open wheel stuff in like the late 60s, early 70s. And they have, I have to try to find the paperwork, but there's history of my grandfather racing at Lime Rock Park.
No shit.
Yeah. So like being able to just go up there, even if it was I shot Grid Life like at Lime Rock Park for a buddy of mine that's up in like the New York area, but it was cool to go there and be like, damn, like I am into motorsports for a different reason my grandfather was. He was also a photographer, but like he drove this track and now I am here doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
the track
Like,
brought
yeah,
both
yeah,
of
yeah.
you there in a very
Yep.
different time span for
Yep.
two separate, like completely different reasons, which is
Yeah.
sweet.
Yep.
And that's wholesome.
Yeah. So like that was like a big like goosebumps, like surreal feeling moment. Like
Yeah.
I remember sitting like right after the media meeting that I really didn't make it for, kind of got like my vest and all that stuff, and like just overlooking the track like in the morning as like the sun's coming up. That was it. That was like the moment, I feel like.
Hell yeah.
And it was like prior to picking up my camera for the day.
Yeah. So we'll kind of dive into some media based questions, like kind of stuff what we always talk about like off camera. I would say more of like the dicey conversation that like, you know, there's definitely like two sides of. We actually kind of, one of the reasons, I'll give some backstory to it. One of the reasons we like, I was like, oh, I want Jacob to shoot for us is one, we just have like very similar personalities, like same type of person. But two, you've been providing us with media for free if you are there and we are there, you have always taken in like full post production edited photos and media for us, and then just gave it to us. Like 4 years ago, multicolor Z, gray ISR Z, gray and pink ISR Z. You've shot pretty much every stage of the car, and you've always just given us media and content. And so
I think every media needs to do that. Just saying, like, shoot for free. Like, the intention of you shooting is to go there to better yourself in your craft. And I feel like I don't know, like, I just think that shooting for free betters you as a producer. I'm going to reword that. We're going to cut that up. But no, like, I think that media should be shooting for free. Like, going to the track with the expectation of being, Jesus Christ, can't even think of the word. I literally just thought it. I just did it again.
It's okay. This is just raw, uncut podcast. We've got Ellis in the back as well as our buddy Alex Nova. So Ellis
Brain is like,
girlfriend. We got the whole squad. It's like the Variant Imaging and Friends podcast today. They're out of frame, but
you know when like ADHD kicks in and your brain just like stutters and you're like you start thinking about something else before you can finish what you're saying. Jesus Christ. Yeah, literally. Like they literally sent a meme about this. That was like, this is me. But no, like no, there it goes again. Dude, we're cutting all of that. Holy shit.
Okay, so
Restart the clock.
hang on.
Circling back, as Jacob had some issues.
Dude, brain had technical difficulties.
Jacob is having a
stroke.
Jacob was having some major issues, but we were talking about media shooting for free because we met because you've been providing us with free media and content for years now.
Yeah.
Every stage of the car. If you've been at an event that I'm at, you shot the car, whether it be 10 photos, 15 photos, whatever you could give me, you always just sent me a DM and was like, hey, I put a little Dropbox together for you. Like, here's the pictures. And I think we always would tip you. I hope we always tipped you.
You did.
Okay, I'm just making sure. But so then, you know, that is one of the reasons I wanted to work with you is because I was like, we have this long history. He always went out of his way to give us free media. And I know that you're a big proponent of media should shoot for free. So I just kind of want you to touch on that a little bit, like from your perspective, because you are the media guy that shot for free.
So I think like media should be shooting for free without the expectation of like getting some sort of monetary value in return. Like you don't have like, there's always like the debate that you should be, you know, you should get some sort of compensation for your time, which is definitely a thing, but understand that don't make that an expectation because not everyone has that same thought process and mentality for it. So like if you're out at an event, like say a public event, and you go out there, you're shooting for free or shooting in general, right? You don't have anyone that is already set up on like hey, I'm shooting for you for this event for X amount. Whatever you have for deliverables to someone, send it out to them and just say, hey, I'm not asking for any payment by any means, but if you want to tip me to help cover the costs or alleviate and help offset me going out there for the day, it would be greatly appreciated. And I think that will go tenfold further than saying, hey driver, I want to shoot for you for this event. This is my rate. Hire me.
Yeah.
Like there's a way to talk to people as a business. And I think that a lot of people just don't have that, like the ability to sit down and have that conversation.
Right. I think something a lot of media people miss is that they think that when they're like talking to drivers or trying to gather customers at the track for media, that it's like a business to customer kind of interaction. But in reality, like a driver who's running like his own program and whatnot, when you approach them for media purposes, you are like, it is business to business. You are, you should approach it as like, I am a media personnel, an individual or an agency or company, whatever.
Correct.
And I'm approaching you as a race team, like for a commercial job, not like, oh, hey, I can do this service for you. Here's what it costs. Like, hire me. Kind of like what you're saying. I feel like a lot of people overlook
especially
that, so.
Someone that has like a car that is like a true sponsored car, like a true race team that is going out and competing at like real title events.
Yeah.
Like it is very business to business. And I think people get also like distracted by like friends have to support me in their business too, which isn't always the case. Like I've also found that like you are more likely to make a friend out of a client than a, you know, like client out of a friend type of deal.
Certainly.
So like, but we were able to key off both of those things right off the rip. So like that just made like, I feel like that's pretty rare in most cases. So we were able to fire that off like right off the bat. Yeah.
And the dynamic and the growth has been sick on both ends. Like on my side of the deal and your side of the deal, which is exactly what we talked about when we had a meeting.
Yep.
We can kind of talk about a little bit about the meeting so people can kind of get an understanding. Media people that have never approached a driver have done something like that, or a driver who's never approached like an actual like serious media professional like that they want to bring on for actual, you know, real photo and video work for an entire season of events, traveling and whatnot. We kind of met up, and then I feel like you came more prepared than I came, which was crazy. Dude, you had like your MacBook with like Google Calendar and
Google Calendar, full like if I had to equate it to like a Word document, it's probably like a 3-page Word document outlining everything that I wanted out of the partnership between both of us, like on both ends. So that way we could touch base on every single thing we needed to. And then kind of like just from there, we even expanded further on that. So like everything I had outlined on that was like what I thought was going to be like a 30-minute, maybe an hour conversation. And we were there for like 3.5 hours or so.
It was a long time.
Like I had every intention of going to OSW after that, like going out to the track. And I had to mentally.
Ellis was driving, right?
Yeah, she was driving. Yeah, she was driving. That was a private day, right? Yeah. And I literally planned to go to OSW after that. And I like kept checking the clock and I'm like, oh, we're doing good on time. We're doing good on time. And then out of nowhere, like blinked and it was like 4:00. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm kind of drained after all that. Like there's no way I'm going to go stand out in the sun after all this.
It was a lot of like very serious, like critical thinking conversation. And like, it should be noted that like no money was discussed or anything.
Nope.
So like
I didn't want
circling back to the people that DM people like, hey, I can shoot you this weekend for $100 for 30 photos. Like we had a 3-hour meeting that we didn't know if either of us were going to get anything out of, and not even a single amount was talked about.
I didn't want to talk about money there. I didn't want to.
As you should. Yeah. Like that's.
I didn't
want to either.
Like I said, touch base on all of these topics that would help drive in the idea of the value that it is creating for the team outside of just a social media and like face level value of like the product that I'm delivering.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to I don't know, let it sit for like what, I think it was like 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we circled back, got into an agreement. I actually sent you out a proposal.
Yeah, you sent me like a full
like I was like
a marketing department or something.
I sent it and I included my rate or what I would normally charge for the amount of work that we would be doing per event. And then we kind of like went back and forth a little bit. Helped you you explained that your program is not like it's not like an FD level program yet, and what we're working towards that. So was able to work with you guys on like a budget and something that we can build upon for the future. So I think that was like, I think it worked out. I feel like it worked out pretty perfect.
Yeah. I don't think it could have worked out any better realistically. I think it was like, Match made in heaven. I always jokingly call you like the team golden retriever.
Dude,
So
adding me to the group chat for the team and then seeing like Kevin and David in there, just like immediately go, oh shit, like, oh my God, Jacob,
'cause
yes.
I didn't explain to that. I kind of forgot that you guys all knew each other,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
then I also didn't talk to anybody but Dad about like you and like bringing on media. Like it was
Yep.
never like a team discussion. It was just like like me and Dad kind of
Dad,
thing.
we
like,
need this.
yeah. Well, because like a lot of people don't understand the value in investing in quality like media production to capture everything you're doing, like start to finish, whether it's at an event, outside of an event.
It's like, it's not even just like the media itself. It's also like marketing your brand. Like when it is your race team, like, or even as like a personal social media like system to grow your personal brand, there's so much more than it like into it than just posting. Just a post and like signing off will not carry you anywhere. There's no like personal relation in it.
Definitely not.
It's like
Yeah,
incorporating all that.
We've been grinding out a lot of stuff, like
Yeah.
a lot of reels, a lot of podcast stuff, because you help out with that a little bit, and then trying to create stuff on track, off track, lifestyle stuff that we're gonna try and shoot soon, and we're always bouncing ideas, which I think is cool because I have like a small like media creative background, not anything professional, but
which makes this so much easier because
Does
I can tell you a shot that I have in my mind and how I want something to like be portrayed, and you will go, yes, but what if we changed this portion of it? I think it would give this much more like a better dynamic and would look so much better. And then we'll shoot it that way too, and we'll compare the two of them. And we're like both like there are times that we go one way for what you chose, and sometimes what I chose, and like just being able to like go back and forth on that.
definitely.
Another eye. It's pouring.
Is it raining?
Dude, it's pouring outside.
I was like, dude, it kind of sounds like the wall is about to collapse behind me.
Dude, it's pouring.
Yeah, it's wild out there. We're in a basement studio with all the walls and windows blocked off. So this is
my dungeon.
This is Jacob's dungeon. I know you guys kind of see me reference Jacob, not being able
Once
to
this
eat,
goes
so
live, if you guys don't like and subscribe it, I don't eat dinner for a week.
I didn't say it, but I confirm or deny nothing.
Plead the fifth.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for Atlanta. I got a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas for Atlanta. We've been talking about Atlanta
Since the meeting.
since we said, like, we planned Texas like right after the meeting. We're like, okay, this is like Texas is gonna happen. Let's see what we can do. Texas, I mean, I feel like we killed it in Texas.
I think so too.
We reached like 60,000 unique accounts over the course
in
of
1 week.
Yeah, like 5 days.
Yeah, which is really cool. We pumped out a full 35-minute, I think, right?
Yeah.
After movie
Like,
mix
yep.
of vlog and like very professional cinematic footage. We
Yep.
cooked up like 2 reels a day for a
Yep.
week.
Yep.
Q&A stuff, cinematic stuff for sponsors,
Yep.
comedy skit stuff. I mean, because like I think the best thing about us, kind of getting off topic of what I was just saying, but
Yeah.
we have like, we both believe in like remaining super authentic and
True to who you are. Yeah.
like creating content around who we are and what we do and what we believe in, rather than like what's going to instantly get views and work. Because
Yep.
like personally, I don't give a shit about that. Like I want to make shit that I want to make. I want to
Yep.
put whatever songs that I love on the edits. Like
Yep.
we're not trying to cash grab. Like,
Yep.
yeah, if you guys like the reel, I'll probably be able to get a GT3RS next year. But if not, it's okay. Like I will bump
We'll
some Harry
just settle
Styles.
with going into pro. Like what? It's fine.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no. And you also love that authenticity and just being yourself, and it just works out really good. We have the same vibe. We like creating the same shit. So
I have a lot of like creative friends of mine that like will like swipe up on like stories of me sharing the reels, and they always say like, they're like, dude, thank you so much for not using like a generic trap beat and like just a full 30-second clip of slow-mo of like one corner. Like they're like, the fact that you use some sort of like, the fact that you use songs that people know that are cool and like your feel make it unique to you. It's sick.
definitely. Yeah, Joel from Drift HQ. Shout out Joel. Love Joel. Whenever I posted the testing edit that Ryan came out and shot, Ryan Deering. Shout out Ryan Deering. Literally like one of my favorite people
Another
on
one
the
of the
planet.
OGs. Love Ryan.
Ryan Deering is seriously you and Ryan Deering are my two favorite media people on
I
the
love
planet.
Ryan. He's
Like,
always super like in touch with like helping other media. Same thing. Like
definitely. I was gonna actually see if he could cook up some video stuff with us because he's really good at doing
yeah,
video.
dude.
And I was
so
gonna
good.
see if on the next test day we could get him out.
Mm-hmm.
That way he can point you in some direction
Yep.
because has been shooting video for a while.
He's seasoned video. Like
Yeah,
he is
he-
very seasoned video guy.
Absolutely. And you just started branching out in a video, which is crazy
Yeah.
because what we've cooked up is sick. But
Yeah.
if people don't realize this, you have done photos for
Yeah.
probably
So like videography is like, I would say less than, I would say 3 months, maybe 4 months at most of
Yeah.
like I flicked my camera into video like 2 times prior to our meeting. Like that's it. So
yeah, which is crazy. But Brian Deering came out and shot the testing video, and then I posted it with one of my favorite groups, Royal Otis, Oysters in My Pocket. Shout out those two dudes from Australia, really sick, like small duo, just like indie
yeah.
alternative group. But Joel slid up and was like, "Dude, I love this." He was
Yeah.
like, I love that you're using like good music,
Yeah.
like not what's
Good
trending,
music, not
like,
just
what
like
makes
the number
you feel
one.
good.
Yep.
Like, and I was like, dude, that is. I don't like watching an edit and then it have some clickbaity, slowed reverb song of 21 Savage that I don't personally listen to. Like, yeah, I don't need like a Hawk Tua edit. I don't need like, I don't need any of that. I'm straight off that. I want some cool ass music that I listen to day to day when I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I just like it.
The reel I just posted of Catrone, Bittersweet Symphony. I
Yeah.
was like, in my head, I wanted that song, and so I started scrolling to find it through Instagram, and there was like 4 versions of it remixed, and like all before I found the original. And I'm like, dude, this is not what I want. I want the original, bro.
Yeah.
But it's sick.
No, that's sick. What you have some stuff on your phone that we were gonna talk
I do.
about. So
Outside of the track, what has your program kind of like helped shape in like your normal life that you learned through like racing, would you say?
that's an interesting one. I feel like I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I'm pulling more from regular day-to-day life in applying that to drifting in the program.
Yeah.
More so than I'm pulling from drifting in the program and applying to everyday life. I feel like the different challenges and like physical and mental just training and psychological improvements I try and make in my day-to-day life that I then apply to the race program in my driving has a better, like a more substantial effect than the other way around. I feel like I learn and I teach myself and I try and invest knowledge into myself and then apply that to the drifting rather than the drifting teaching me about life. So I'm going to twist your question around if that's okay.
Fine. Yeah,
but
go for it.
For me, it's been kind of just what I said, like training myself mentally and physically in like researching like sports psychology and training my mind to have like its own level of like stamina and endurance, almost like it's a muscle group, right? Like training to be calm, collective, in stress-free and the most intense adrenaline pumped environments.
Which is like super hard, and people overlook that all the
Certainly.
time in
Absolutely.
driving or competing even.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think I didn't really start getting into that until probably when I started doing like just all the physical and mental training. Like I started doing it to kind of just better my mental health. And then I started realizing that like I could trick my brain into like enjoying like these really intense, like feeling like I'm going to throw up and die moments. And then channeling that exact like mental state when I'm driving, in that driving state when it's 110 degrees and I have no cool suit and I'm stressed and I'm sweating and I'm just in pain.
Shout out round 1.
Yeah, shout out round 1 at Citrus County. But like in those moments, it's like it's a fraction of like the other stuff. Like it feels good. Like I'm just like, this is like I'm at peace right now. And so once I taught myself that, I feel like
Just push
in
a
the
little
seat,
further.
I became just a lot more cool and collective, and I think it expanded my driving abilities like tremendously.
And was that something that you kind of like thought of or started developing on yourself, or did you have like another like driver source that helped implement that style of like thinking for like in like when you get into comp and all that?
For me, it really started with just my own influence. Like I accidentally stumbled into it when I started, like I said, when I started working out, and then I started working out because I was in like a dark place mentally. Like when I moved back up to Jax, I like wasn't performing well driving. I was just like overwhelmed with work and school and like under delivering to my dad in the program. And I was kind of just like, I need to like improve myself. Like I need to like, I don't want to sound cliche, but like lock the fuck in. Like I need to figure out like
reset.
Like winning is not luck. Getting
Right.
better at something is not luck. Like
No, it's
once I started working out and then I watched myself like do something for 6 months and see no results, and then a month later see results, like that first year taught me that like 1% a day you're not going to notice, but one day all those 1% a days are going to leap into bigger results.
Yeah.
And I just kind of started going crazy on that, and it was just self-inflicted because once I saw it I was like, wait a minute, like I can apply that to driving. Like I can like it's not that outlook on everything does not just apply to that. It teaches you that like consistency and discipline of working your ass off to be better at something, just it's a cheat code of life. Once you figure it out, you just apply it to every single aspect, whether it's media. You do the same thing. Like you do the same thing with media.
Dude,
like
all the time.
I'm always collecting information. Like
trying to better every single day. I learn or try to learn something new. Like that is a different way of doing something, or just literally just investing the time to invest in myself to help better my future.
Definitely. What else you got on there?
I got to follow up to that is I feel like a lot of drivers overlook the mental game of like getting yourself to be at peace, like when you're driving in these high stress situations, or like
Definitely.
It's like,
because I did for like 4 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
And so, like if you very easily did that, then the majority of everyone else, I feel like, does the same thing. They just like keep, I don't know, treat it as like an outlet, like fun, I guess, and don't think it's just surface level, I guess.
Yeah, what you're doing is like, it's not some just like, oh, I'm good at drifting, so like I can compete and be some exceptional driver. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just like if a guy is doing better than you, like if his program is seeing exponential growth, his marketing, his media, his on track ability, his off track ability, it's not because he's just getting lucky with every single thing. It's probably because he's just working harder than you at every single category of his life. Like, in what comes in with the program and whatnot. Like,
and you kind of first brought this up like in front of me was like before Texas, was like understanding that like the time that you were investing into, whether it be that it was an LS Fest event, but it was still a competition. So you were even said like you wanted to take like a day or two off of the sim and just go like to the beach or like take some time off like before we went, and you decided against it because you wanted to, because that there is another driver out there that is, while you are not training, that person is, and that if they outperform you, the only thing you have to blame is yourself for not like developing into that.
Absolutely. That might sound crazy to some people.
Yeah, I know. It's just, but it's true.
That's like what I have, whether it's true or not, like that's what I've tricked my brain to like think and I can't like undo it. Like
but it applies to everything. You can't get upset that someone else has something that you don't, or is able to do something that you don't, because you don't know what how hard they've been working to get to that point.
Absolutely. I love getting beat because like you just said, when I get beat, like I blame it on myself. Like if I lose, it's because I didn't work hard enough. And then so that in between the next 2 rounds, like if I thought I had worked the hardest I could, like on the sim training daily and working out and mental training, like I've realized I'm like, wait a minute, like I can do 10% more every day than I was doing before. And that 10% more stacks up in between the next round. And then like I just keep pushing myself and pushing myself
harder
and pushing
harder
myself.
For the next one.
And then you realize you're like, holy shit, like you reach a point where you're like, like so many times you've been holding yourself back and learning stuff or developing yourself with whatever hobby it is or task or goal that you're trying to achieve. Like I said, it could be a hobby like media, like not improving social media growth, whatever. And you're just like, you realize how much you slack and how much more you can put in every single day. And so and it's easy to forget that. And then when you lose or something happens like that you kind of get humbled, you're like, I didn't work as hard as that guy did.
Yep.
And then it's like, I don't like that feeling. So I'm like,
no,
yeah, I don't know.
That you could have done more. Like the feeling of you could have done more.
Exactly. Ellis is like got a punch card over there, and like no one can see
What
it.
does
It's
it
like
say?
level 3 font. You can talk. What does it say?
Just go. You're fine, bro. Oh my
She's
God.
got like 4-point font from
Yeah.
like all the way across the studio.
Yo, we got 20/20 vision, but come on.
What's it say, Ellis?
No, she's going to the bathroom.
She was just telling us that she
Yeah.
was going to the bathroom.
The toilet is loud as hell.
You're
and it
fine. You're
flushes
fine.
like 5
You can use
hours.
the other one in the other room. It's on the right.
Yeah. Jesus. Cut. Kind of following up like on the statement of like mental growth and all that stuff. I don't even know how that really won't play in directly, but like both of us having like a very positive outlook on life and like optimism, I guess you would say,
Yeah.
versus, you know, being a pessimist and
Yeah.
like down all the time. Like we always just find the like it doesn't matter the situation or what's going on, but like there's always some sort of like positive outlook that you and I both resonate and push through, and like in every situation, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like that you brought that up, because like one of my favorite when somebody tries to like bring that up, I always tell people like I'm not a pessimist and I'm not an optimist. I'm a possibilist.
yeah.
So there's a guy, I think his name is Hans Rosling or Rosling. He's written a few books, and I'm not going to quote the full thing, but essentially he says like I'm a possibilist, and a possibilist is someone who neither hopes without reason or fears without reason. And that's how you need to approach life. Like there's no reason. Being a possibilist, like someone's gonna be like, oh, you're so overly optimistic, like you only see the good things, you think anything's possible.
Nope.
It's not that like you think anything's possible. It's like you know that anything is possible. You know that with like an unfathomable amount of hard work and dedication, you will achieve anything.
Yep.
If someone on the planet has done it, it is possible.
Yeah.
If somebody can be a basketball player and a professional athlete, it's not that like only a small percentage of the population can do it. It's that only a small percentage of the population worked hard enough to get there.
Yep.
They didn't hope without reason, and they didn't fear without reason.
Yep.
They grabbed the task that they wanted to by the neck and took it and ran with it.
And just went after
and
it.
Based
Like,
their
just-
entire drive out of it. And people need to understand that. Like, you can
Yeah.
literally do anything. I've seen my friends do it with businesses, like flipping a switch. Like Freddie, trying to become like a very dominant crew chief in professional motorsports and a successful like business owner and tuner. Like I watched that almost from the start. Really, we weren't very close. He had already started tuning when I met him, but you know we talk a lot every day because we're just very close people, and you know we just kind of preach ideas to each other, whether it be business or working hard or making improvements in driving, and we're always just being very real with each other and like about the
Yeah.
hard work and like what you can do to push it to the next level.
Yeah, no. And I think
And
that's,
I've seen it in him, so it's cool.
I was going to say, being able to balance the mentality of both sides of it is like the main thing. Just very level-headed minded, I feel like is the easiest way to describe it.
Definitely.
I feel like a lot of people it's always like one extreme or the other, and like there's no balance to it. So I feel like that's like one thing that you and I both have like, I would say, gotten down pretty well, is like being level-headed and, you know, so.
Very. Yeah, because like we'll be like walking around the pits and you'll be like, oh, how did that session feel? And I'll be like, honestly, pretty shit. But like, I know that if I,
But I know what I need to change.
yes,
This
and
is
the
how
next
I'm
one's
going
going to be better
Yep.
because I'm going to change what I know I did wrong. Not
Yep.
like we'll see how it goes. It's like we're not gonna see how it goes. Like it's
No,
gonna
it's
go.
gonna.
Like
It's
not
gonna do
Yeah.
it.
So, what else you got?
Let's see.
We built this list because we filmed an episode before this.
Yeah.
But we filmed this episode literally like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that was
Before Texas.
Before Texas.
So
we both forgot everything we talked about. We then doubled back on, I don't want to say on conversations we had, but we both, since we forgot what we talked about, we both were like, most of the stuff we talked about was pretty like time sensitive. So like we talked about pre-Texas. So like if we drop that video now or the podcast now, we're going to talk about an event that hasn't happened yet
Yeah.
a month ago.
we've already
So-
been to podium now.
Yeah.
Like we've moved on. We've driven
Yep.
other competitions since then.
So
And we've gotten way closer.
Yeah,
So
definitely. What do you think the average cost for a weekend event for like maybe up and coming drivers that want to get into competing, or maybe even media people trying to understand what exactly a team goes through to see if that is something that's within a team's budget to add on to their program, what do you think like the average cost is for a competition, say weekend? Like if you were to go to like
Sebring or something?
Yeah,
or...
Sebring or USDC. Like out of state events are like a completely different ballgame.
Yeah,
but like
for us, it's probably like $3 to $4 grand a weekend to do like a local competition. I would say like between
fuel, tires,
20 tires, like 20 to 30 gallons of fuel, and then paying you to do media and marketing, David, Kevin, Noah, the crew, and then I guess that's it. Like event entry fee
and
which
like
is a few $100
like
and then
like
food and hotel,
yeah.
which adds up quick. You're
Yeah.
usually going to spend at least for a local event where it's like 1 or 2 nights, like between a couple rooms, and because we make sure everybody gets like their own bed and shit. We're not like making you guys stack up on air mattresses,
which
like,
is what I think every team should do.
Absolutely.
Having 4 and 5 guys stacked in one room after they've been working out in the sun for like, some events are like 15 hours. Like if
insane
like,
behavior.
Yeah.
Should not be allowed to do that.
These dudes has been sweating their what's off all day. They come back, they shower, they want to pass out, and you're gonna make them cuddle each other. Come on now.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll spoon with Jacob and the crew, but like,
but still, that's like such a
Alice is like
that is not how. That's like a mentality thing. Like another mentality thing is like that is, to me, that if I worked all day and I came back and was like sharing a room with like 6 people. That is
are
not
people doing that? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
You're like aware of it? Like,
yes.
you know?
Oh,
Damn.
absolutely.
We're going to need to talk about that off camera because that's wildly out of pocket behavior.
Like but it's like, I get the cost savings of a single room, but like now that person is thinking about that for the weekend and that they have to share a room with all these other people.
Certainly not going to be able to
During
work
a exactly. That's not
like,
that is not peak performance.
how does 6 people wake up in the morning and shower?
They
like,
don't.
Someone's got to shower at 4:30, 5:30,
Yeah.
6, 6:30, 7, 7:30. Get to the track at 8. Like, that's crazy.
That little bit of extra money into the budget will go a long way for your crew.
Even if it's possibly $200 more a weekend, right?
$200.
4 rounds a season, it's $800 more a year.
For your guys to
$800
work
a year.
instead of your guys working at 60%, now they're working 110% just because
they're well
they got
rested, they're well fed, they're not cuddling up, spooning each other in a king size bed.
Yeah. You stinky crew. And that's
Smelly crew.
Jesus.
Oh man, that's good. Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's very
I've
common.
heard of like some
like
some talk.
four, like 2 guys per bed probably, and then like maybe an air mattress guy if like cutting costs like super hard, I guess.
Which I get it, like it's expensive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I guess everyone's got different like morals and boundaries. Like I'm not gonna.
This is a percentage of budget across your entire program for the year.
Correct.
And we talk about this a lot with like drivers upgrading cars too, or swapping out parts for like sponsorships and like.
Oh, I think that's insane.
Dude, it is crazy. Like you're swapping parts on a car that you're already comfortable in, either mid-season or whatever it may be, but you're talking about a fraction of percentage of the overall budget for the year that you're gonna save that you want to just change a sponsor for.
Definitely.
Like that's wild.
Yeah, I always find it crazy when I see drivers switch a suspension component or something to a known, generally widely accepted inferior company to the part that they're currently running to get
put them
a
at a
free
deficit.
setup. Yeah, to get them a free setup and spares. When like, let's just use this as an example. Let's say, I don't know what an angle kit goes for nowadays, like $2,000 for like a really good Z angle kit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you need a $2,000 angle kit and 2 spares. That's $6,000, right? $6,000 of a Pro 1 FD budget is literally like, depending on who it is, between like 1 and 5% of your total yearly cost. So if you are willingly, knowingly going to an inferior, cheaper solution for your car,
yourself in the foot.
you're shooting yourself in the foot to save 3 to 5% of your yearly budget. 3 to 5%. You're not saving
to cripple yourself and have to now work around something that you have never driven on before or are not comfortable behind.
Yeah, I see it all the time. People change stuff, and at the amateur level, the grassroots level, amateur competition level, pro spec, pro 1, and I'm just like, damn, that is crazy to me. Like, But
that just that small of a percentage to make that big of a change.
yeah, and I get it. People are trying to save money. They're like $6,000 is a lot, but like I think they're looking too much in the moment where they're looking at their own bank accounts and they're looking at their own finance and they're like $6,000 right now is a lot, and they're forgetting that like you're running a year-round race program. You need to be setting a yearly budget and allocating
Break it
these
down.
things.
Like
Something Pat and I talked about was drivers not allocating like enough driving and seat time and testing in their cars into their yearly budget, because a lot of prospect drivers and pro AM drivers that are struggling, they're like, oh, I can only really afford to do the season and like, a little, like a couple events here and there. But it's like, you need to, especially if you're at the amateur level, like you are not good enough to just only compete.
no,
You
gotta
are not.
Yeah,
Like Pro 1 guys still work their asses off and drive all the time.
all the
Dude,
time.
Dylan Hughes, Chris Forsberg, the top level guys, they are like literally trying to drive 2 to 3 days a week. Like they are always driving. They are always drifting. They're always getting seat time. They're always improving.
And then you got guys
You need
like,
to work that into your budget
Yep.
so that you can't say like, oh, I don't have enough money to do like a couple extra test days and fun days, or to where I'm like getting seat time in the car, getting comfortable, feeling out changes, especially when they're changing things every season.
new car every time you drive it. Like
It can't be like that.
No.
And if you're especially if you're at the amateur level, or even like I said, I feel like I can't speak on it because I'm not a pro driver. I'm still an amateur. But you got to drive. You got to allocate that into your budget. You got to make time and make room in the budget to be able to go testing and get seat time and improve your driving. And if you can't do that, at least buy a damn sim.
yeah,
At least spend a couple $1,000s
swear by the
to buy a nice sim and train. Like I allocate like a lot of my improvements over the last 2 seasons to focusing up in sim training on the exact same tracks, a car with replicated geometry. Pat's going to kill me for that, but I think
He hates it,
I think
dude.
it's the best thing ever.
he hates the sim.
I think it's the best thing ever. And there's nothing wrong with not liking it. It's very hard to get into the sim as someone who's already a good drifter in real life, because it's very weird. There's no physical cues of what the car is doing. It's weird. It's like not realistic in that sense, but the muscle memory, the timing of transitions, I think it makes you a better tandem driver. Collecting wheel speed data for tracks, understanding the scale and the timing of transitions at certain tracks before you even get there. It's tremendous help, and it's free laps before you even show up to the track.
It's not like it's law either. It's not like what your experience is 100% translation. It
Correct.
is like you have a better general understanding of what to expect when you get there, so you can either make less changes or feel, like you said, feel comfortable with like timing and all that. Like
Even when guys show up to the track and they're like, ooh, this bank is kind of interesting. Like, I don't know how I'm going to approach the initiation. If you can play it on the sim and try the initiation, you know what feels weird and what doesn't feel weird if it's scaled appropriately. It doesn't have to feel exact, but it's just you gather information before you get there. It saves you practice laps. It saves you trial and error in person, and it just gives you a huge head start.
Yeah, because I'll reference Texas again, but you did Texas a lot.
Yes, every single day for 2 weeks.
Nonstop. And that, I feel like even like you made maybe 1 or 2 changes on your first and second lap. And then after that, it was just, at that point, just feeling it and then timing and all that. So like,
Definitely.
I feel like you were pretty dialed and ready for Texas once we did get there.
Definitely. And it was a little bit different from the sim, obviously. Like it felt bigger and faster, and you had to approach things a little different, but the timing of extending the straight sweeper, the big long straight, not sweeper, where it's 2 outer zones or 1 outer zone into the sweeper, which is another outer. The timing and muscle memory of reeling, getting the car out there and floating it out there and filling the outer zone, and then timing the transition properly for the sweeper outer. Like I saved so much time and struggle, and like never went off once. I never went off track once because I had sim trained and I had got that down. I wasn't overshooting it. And it's not that I was better. It's that I prepared for it.
Yeah.
I trained for it.
Didn't go blind into that corner, because that was a pretty like outer one, and then transitioning the flick back to then float
Very
out across.
fast flick. Yeah.
And that, like, it is mostly blind because you can't, like, they crest in the center, and I don't think a lot of people anticipated that.
I didn't, but I also didn't notice it because it was all muscle memory from the sim. I literally knew how I was initiating and flicking it and like just pinning it from outer one to diagonally push the car to the next outer.
Yeah. I remember showing you the
Or
video.
inner one, I'm sorry, into outer.
I remember showing you the videos from my point of view of being at like the last outer zone and me telling you that I cannot physically see you at the start line through the first outer until you come across that center section. You're like, what do you mean? And like,
I thought the track was flat.
yeah, you can literally, like in video, I would record and you could not even see the top of the car. And then you would
You
come
would
over
watch
the,
car
yeah,
over
watch
and I was so confused. I was like, there's not even a crest. I was like, it's literally flat.
What do you mean? Flat track, Texas, bro.
But it's because I was just hyper fixating on the zones and the points that because I was already so comfortable with the timing of everything, I wasn't like, oh, there's a crest here. Like, I was just like, I need to go from here to here. Like, how do I get from here to here smoothly? Which is weird because I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great example.
Are you running sim for AMP at all? Or
no, because it's just a fun day.
Yeah.
Like I don't even run the same line every lap at AMP.
No.
I would say like.
No, always changing it to do something different and
Yeah,
fun.
it's
Like,
fun, and the car's always really loosely set up. I just try and give people ride-alongs.
dude, the best part I think of AMP last year was like I have a picture of it. I'm like walking up the hill to get to the water tower, which is like the first big like corner, I guess, where everyone just runs bro line, tons of smoke, tons of angle, like super fast. And they come around and then they like reinitiate or flick into like this downhill like bomb section. And I remember I'm like walking up and I watched you take off from the line and you did not lift the entire time. And then you bombed the hill and like I got this cool picture of you like coming through the like not through the bushes, but like just watching you just like throw like full lock down the hill. It was, I don't know, it was so sick.
It was cool. Yeah, you I think provided me the best media from AMP.
Dude, AMP
I was
so,
like, damn, these are the best photos ever.
Dude, because it was such a crazy trip and it being like a one day thing. Like I said, like media people making things happen. Like in my head, it is the one, like you only get to drive there one time a year as a driver. A media person only gets to shoot there one time a year. So like whatever I go and get that day, I knew in my head had to be good. Like, so
Yeah.
I just went out and I pretty much shot nonstop for the entire day. Like ate one time, like drank.
That's wild because it was
Yeah.
hot out there.
Dude, it was, yeah.
There's pictures of me shirtless changing my own tires in the pits. Because
You
I was like,
working
Dad,
on the
you need a
car?
break. Yeah, because that was getting hot.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, chill out. I was like, hang out.
He gets in that zone. He like nonstop. Like he
Change,
just
change wheels every now and then, you know.
no, but like Pops, he does get in that zone. Like when
He
he's
does.
like
He
even
will
at-
overwork himself.
yeah, round one, he will like you have two other crew guides with him, and Pops is just like there. Like he want like it's so engraved
wants
in
to
his
do it all.
yeah. It's so engraved in his head that he's working. Like it is like go time, and he forgets, and he's just locked in.
It's crazy. It's cool to see how much he's changed. Like,
Yeah,
From the start of our
Mhm.
pro-am to like now. Just
yeah.
he's so damn locked in. It's crazy.
Oh, dude, I love it.
He gets so. We always joke about it. We always joke about the stress
Yeah.
meter because he
Yeah,
gets like really
dude.
stressed out.
Like
So
he'll
he'll
dude,
get frustrated, and I'm like, Jacob, edit the stress meter like increasing right now because Dad's getting pissed. He's freaking out, or not pissed necessarily, but
No,
he
just-
just gets stressed and overwhelmed.
You can
I'm
can
like,
tell
"Dad,
he gets
relax,
stressed.
It's okay.
And it's only like, because like hanging out, like for prepping for Texas, like prepping the car for Texas, he was okay for most of the day.
Yeah.
And then one one thing happened. And then the stress for the rest of the day, not like full stress, but like it was higher. And then seeing him like that version of him versus like at an event, like where he needs to be, not needs to be stressed, but like
It's a little
There's
bit
a
more
reason to-
appropriate to
yeah.
be stressed. Yeah.
like just seeing the two.
Always. I always try and preach to him. I'm like, hey, like just slow down
Yeah.
because like working faster and then having little bobbles or mistakes or forgetting something adds more time than just being calm, collected, chill, and slow,
And that's more
dragging your feet
yeah.
sometimes.
And
Like,
that sits on, like, if you forget something because you are stressed and moving too quickly, now that sits on your head the whole day too. And now, like, that's
you got to
peak
just be more
performance and yeah,
nonchalant overall.
level-headed, bro.
Yeah, he's awesome though. I love him.
Yeah.
He's just got a lot going on all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to help him work on that a little bit because I think it could also help him in his day-to-day life.
Yeah. I try to,
I
like,
see how like I mellowed out and calmed down mentally and how much it helped me juggle a lot of random shit with like always doing classwork every day and having to email companies on time and just handling random shit day to day and like trying to cram everything. Having a puppy is like raising a small child sometimes, and
Just say
like
people
be
don't realize,
overwhelming. Like,
and that's I think a lot of people overlook as to how much work you do for the program too. Is like, and in your day to day life, you have a full schedule of classes. You are running a full time job with the program, and like monitoring everything with that, driving, raising jacks, like all
that
of
was
that
my
stuff.
own choice.
Yeah, yeah,
Getting
yeah.
Jax was a personal decision, but
Yeah, but that's like all of those things. That's like that's a full schedule. Like
yeah, no,
or-
it is. I'm definitely pretty busy. I mean, I have free time. Like,
Yeah.
don't get it twisted. I play,
Right.
if I have 3 hours a day to grind the sim,
Yep.
I have free time. Like, I'm not saying that I'm
Yeah.
like fucking working 80,
Yeah, no,
80
no.
hours a week. You got soft hands, brother. Like,
You ain't worked
like
a
I'm not
goddamn
out
day in
there
your
like
life.
with the damn Carhartt overalls on. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not rebuilding, I'm not going that crazy.
yeah. But still, like,
I'm juggling my own shit. And everybody's always, I think people always forget that, like, everyone's got their own struggles and their own challenges. Like,
Yep.
like somebody's life is not easier just because they have less shit to do than you, just
Yep.
because they work less than you. Everybody's got their own challenges.
grass
mentally.
is the same no matter where you're at. It's not greener on the other side.
Absolutely. So I feel like Nova would be good to talk about that. He's such a chill guy.
Dude, I'll be honest. I feel like I'm one of the most chill and like level-headed people out of like any of my friend groups.
More chill than Nova?
I
He
think
hasn't said a
in-
word over there.
I feel like I don't know, a lot of aspects I feel like it. I just think I just don't let, I don't know. I mean, he's pretty close to me, I would say. Yeah. I just
He's like, fuck no.
was going to say I feel like
I've never seen you stressed. He's yeah. His stress meter is like, it's like
If I do get stressed,
a VQ
is-
oil pressure meter. It's like stuck at 0. It's just bottomed
Bro,
out.
what
won't move.
do you mean? It's either 0 or it's like over.
But you don't ever get to that point though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Even when we're at the track and I'm like, yo, I
Dude,
need this reel to go up. Like,
well, like, and like, so referencing Texas again, because that was like our biggest event so far. Like, I nonstop work mode in my head. Like, you get off the track. I just got off the track. Like, I have a water in hand. Like, I just set my camera down, and you're like, hey, practice. We start practicing again in an hour. I want this reel and like these photos.
you sound like a dick when you say it like
no,
that,
no,
dude.
but like no. So like you're getting on, like you just got out of a car, you're hot as hell too, and like I start chugging my water, and you're like, hey, like, can I get this reel? Is it possible? No. You said, is it possible to get this reel and these photos in an hour so that way I can have it for a sponsor? And the first thing I did in my head, I waited a couple seconds before responding. I thought about the timeline of what else is going on at the event, and I said, absolutely, I'll have it done. But I joke and fire back, and I'm like, bro is always asking me to work. Like, he's always wants something. Driver Diva needs his content immediately. But like, that's the part of the side that media doesn't, in my opinion, that they don't pre-plan for. Like,
Yeah.
emulating yourself working in an environment that is like that stress level prior to getting there, like training for a sim for driving, like for every big event that automotive wise that was in the state of Florida prior to us working together, I went and worked a full-time, yeah, it's getting bad.
Is it like a tornado warning?
I went and worked like a full race schedule for a team and emulated if I had to do that with someone prior to being there.
Yeah.
Like Daytona, I shot an entire private day for all the homies prior to the roar before the 24 hours of Daytona. Shot a whole private day, drove up to Daytona, went there, shot nighttime shots for the team I was shooting for, went back, crashed for a couple hours in the car because it's a 24, or was that the actual 24 or was that no, roar before we went up prior to, and that was just okay.
That was practice.
Yeah, practice. But then the actual 24, yeah, so it started at 1 p.m. We had the private day till like 5 or 6. Drove up to Daytona, shot for the team, slept in the car for a couple hours because I stayed out there till probably 2 a.m. just like taking everything in. Went and slept in the car for like 3 hours, then went back into the track and continued shooting and seeing friends and all that stuff, and like emulated if I had to work for a team. Edited photos like there, and then did the same thing for Sebring. Left the house at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Drove to Sebring to get there by sunrise for the list of shots I had in my head. Shot Sebring, edited photos midday to get out of the sun for a bit with the AC in the car, delivered them to my Dropbox, which would have been for the team, and then shot the rest of the day, went home, edited when I got home to have a little bit more stuff for the like in the folder, and then kept going. And like in my head, that is how I would produce that for a team. So like doing it for you at Texas was like I had already practiced that to know what to expect. So like I just came naturally, I guess. I don't know.
That's cool. That's dope. So well, I didn't even know that. So you were super prepared going into Texas.
Yeah.
Was there anything that was like a curveball or that like was
doing video instead? Because all that other stuff was
everything you did was video, even in the training.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't think about that.
but like that was like I have been around videographers and like being a creative outlet. Like I watch other
out
content.
Catrone.
Yeah, Catrone, dude. Watching him or Loxley or even just like people on like other content creators in the space that like I have like a Discord group of like automotive creators that I like watch all of their stuff, like Dan with PSI and like all the stuff he does for BMW and like, you know, Halcyon, Crispy, like all those like Stance OG guys, like learning to create a story out of whatever. That was the hardest part for me. But I don't know, implementing it like through us in like Texas, like just go shoot it and do it, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just trial and error. You just have
yeah.
to keep doing it. It's repetition.
Better yourself every time you shoot. That's
Everything
that's,
you've shot for us, like every single time, the video is just better and better and better and better. I'm really excited to see what I know we talked about it earlier. I'm so excited for 4th of July in a couple weeks.
it's just
Cruising up in the GX.
It's gonna be a
off-roading,
whole
some,
nother
like, nature stuff. It's gonna be sick.
I've always been a firm believer in like every event has its own vibe. So like even in my photos, like you'll see my style change with like every couple swipes you do on like social media. You'll see a style change between them, and it's usually like a different event that has like it'll be similar, but like there are aspects that change with each time that I go to an event. So I'm kind of like portraying that in video too. So like Texas has its own thing, and like USDC will have its own thing. Like whether it's Citrus County or Sebring, those will both have their own like feel. And then Atlanta's gonna have a completely different like
aura.
Yeah, and I think that's like my styling.
What does Ellis got going on?
I don't know. Oh my god.
What is this?
Yeah, she's like, "Where's the hot takes?"
Oh, the hot takes. What kind of hot takes do we got? Well, we have a lot. We have probably too many hot takes. Some that can't even be discussed on
episode
camera.
3, but the second episode that's posted.
Oh man.
I mean, media shooting for free is definitely something that like
That's definitely your hottest take, because you know how many media people have approached me and been
demanding
like, hey, do
money.
you wanna...
Like,
yeah, basically.
like just like
I never thought about that until you said it like that. It's
Dude,
literally demanding money. Like,
yeah, it's like a team and a driver don't owe you anything. Like, or like the people. So like before, and there are a ton of guys that are guilty of it, but like media showing up to a private day that they don't. If someone's like wishy-washy, but media showing up to a private day that they don't pay admission for, getting like a show per se, taking photos and practicing their craft, and then demanding to be paid for like the stuff that they shot at this private day of people that didn't necessarily ask them to be there. Like, don't expect money. Like, don't expect money from something that you weren't expected to be at in the first place. Like, you can't expect someone to pay you to accommodate you for your time when no one knew you were going to be there.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's a good one, because at the end of the day, like, when you come to like a private day or a public day, like I don't want to sound entitled, but like we're giving you something to shoot as the either event organizer.
You
the
chose
driving.
to be there for a reason.
Right.
Don't just go there to
You were not
expect,
hired, contracted to come out
Correct.
and shoot photos. Like,
if you have something pre-existing with one of the drivers, you're being
different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can choose to branch out and like say, hey, like I was here shooting for this person. Like, here are these photos for free if you want to tip me or whatever it may be. I think that's more than acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, but I definitely see I always see it at hey, we got somebody's willing to come out and do media at the private day. Like, they're gonna show up, and then they'll hit you with the DM like, yo, I was at the private day, like I got 8 photos of you, like send me $50.
Yeah. Bro, like I even like, and there are I talked to other people in other like areas of drifting, like the Northeast. Like, there are FD level photographers and videographers that are shooting for really big name people, and they go to their local events and still shoot for free. Like they shoot for free too, because you're giving, like, to me, it's like giving back to the community. Like if I go and take a couple photos, like I'm going out there for all of my closest homies that take care of me when I go out there. But I shoot someone else that's like getting into drifting that's in like B class, or someone that just made it into A class, and like I got a sick photo of them. Dude, this is yours here. Like,
Yeah. Because you did that when I was coming up in drifting.
Yeah.
And like that act of kindness and then that building of a very just casual relationship, friendship, and
resonates
business
so much
relationship.
further.
Yeah, it resonated to the point where I was like, I want Jacob to shoot the media full time. Like for us, like I want him to be like our media guy.
If you like, and that's to circle back to like personal brand and like business brand and stuff like that. Like that will like the only thing that's going to sit in someone's mind if they do want to, like if you were asking them to hire you, like hire me and pay me money for this, the next time that they like, whenever they make it to the next step and they start considering people to shoot for them, that's the only thing that's going to be on their mind. It's like, oh, that's the guy that showed up at a private day and like sent me 5 photos and said that they wanted $380 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
and another hot take is like, a lot of the people that do this do not deliver very great media.
There's,
which like people in the media side of thing, like you are one of my best friends. My buddy Josh Lopez is one of my best friends. And then for years I did like portrait photography and stuff. What people don't understand is like people that are in the drifting media scene is at more amateur, like coming to the local track level, not guys that are like shooting FD and shit that are like very established professional shooters. People like, they feel like their work is so great that they're like entitled to it.
Yep.
And they're really, in comparison to other professional automotive and drifting photographers, 15 to 20% of what the professional can do, who's not really charging much more than you do. Like people feel like they deserve the same amount of money because they put in the same amount of time.
Yep.
And that's not how it works.
No.
Somebody's delivering a substantially better product, and yes, you are spending the same amount of time doing it, and they're delivering the same amount of photos. But if they're just better at it than you are, it just is what it is. It's not. I understand that you value your time, but you know you can't just. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just demand the same amount of money because you're putting in the same amount of work.
I was going to say, the amount of time that you have in a craft does not dictate your ability to do said craft. Like,
yeah.
And I'll circle back to what you said about like not like people's styles or whatever not being up to par. I think everyone's style has a place, but there is a marketability factor with how you deliver those images as well. So you can be super creative, super cool, like your style, like no one else has the same style as you, and everyone knows that it is a really cool style, but that style will not translate to every driver, every sponsor, or everybody that you are working with. Like there will be a time and place for it, but it is not like cookie cutter for not everyone is going to be able to post or use that same media. So you have to be versatile with how you deliver things.
Yeah. Just because you're a good photographer and you took some sick pan shots and threw them in Lightroom does not mean that what you offered me, I'm going to be able to use for Instagram.
Yep.
I'm not buying photos to load them up on File Explorer and stare at them. Like, if I'm buying media, it's because I need to see. I look at when somebody gives me something. Well, not anymore because we have you.
Yeah.
But when people would approach me,
no other media allowed.
I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is what they have brought to me. Before I even look at what it's going to cost, how can I use this media to create something for social media, and what kind of return am I going to get on it?
Yep. But not everyone has that like business side mentality for it.
Yeah. It's not like I want to buy your photo so that I can post it without a watermark. Dude, photos are unfortunately like becoming obsolete in terms of social media. Nobody's, TikTok brain is like swiping through reels. We're not like, hyper focusing on photos anymore.
Trendy audio.
Which I hate because like Larry Chen just made a sick post about, can we make stills relevant again or whatever. And we both appreciate.
Dude, love stills.
So it kind of sucks that it is going away, but because it is going away and because it holds less value to marketability, as the person you're pitching that to, the brand, whatever, that's how I have to take it, because it's like it's not. I'm buying it. I'm buying it as an investment.
Yep.
It's like it's coming out of our marketing budget per se. Like it's it's
Yep.
money we're allocating of content we either create or somebody got and we used to create. And if we can't create anything with it, then it's like it doesn't hold any value. It's not that I don't like the photo. It's not that I don't want to support you. It's just because you
Yep.
did it does not mean you're entitled for someone to use it and benefit from it. It doesn't, everybody's got different things that they're doing with said media and in different applications of how they want to, use said media. But it's not for everybody, and it shouldn't be expected that it's for everybody.
No expectations with it is how I've always viewed it. I follow a lot of like motorsports photographers and like their process and like big names with like IMSA and like Formula Drift and all that stuff, and like seeing the way that they produce images for companies, you see that like they have like their social media will be all their creative stuff, but then you go and look at the stuff that they're putting out for these companies, and it is a completely different style, but you can tell that it's still them because of the way it's like edited, and there, like I said, there's a place for each of those
For sure.
So
Yeah, and nowadays I feel like as a media creator, whether it's videography, photography, or if you're just a person who, outsources those two things to create something, if you're like a marketing person at a company, whatever, you have to like, you need to be able to move your own style and taste and, way of shooting into what somebody else wants, because it's not always what you want. It's you kind of what you were saying. You got to adjust it based on what you're shooting. Yeah.
Dynamic.
Yeah, dynamic is an excellent word. You have to be able to adapt to shooting that marketability, Instagram reel style footage, or Instagram.
And it can
you
still
got
be
to
your
pre-plan those
style.
kind of shots in your own style so that someone can use it. And that's like free knowledge that we're giving out.
No,
Like,
dude, it is like
my buddy Josh Lopez, you met him, Sinisky. He loves photography. And then when he got a gimbal and started getting a video, I was telling him, I'm like, dude, you want to go to OSW and make money? I will tell you as a driver who needs people to do this. And I was like, Josh, take your little fucking gimbal out there with your Sony A7 IV. Get like between pitch shots and driving, get whether someone loops it every corner or not, get these
60-40 split of pit to
3 to 10 second clips of people driving. And I was like, and just sell little clip packages, because I can't do shit with photos. But if you say, hey, I got a minute and 30 seconds color graded footage that's already, it's just a bunch of little segments in a 1 minute video. You can chop them up, mix them up how you want, make reels with them. That is 10 to 13 reels. If you do a minute and a half, that's what, like 90 seconds? That is like, if you're doing 5 to 10 second clips, that's like 9 reels. Yeah. And if you say, hey, just give me $50 for this footage, like, or you are probably going to get, if a driver is smart, which more free knowledge to the drivers out there,
$50 for 9
spend
reels
the
is
$50
crazy.
and make 9 reels. Like, and then as the media people, shoot that kind of shit that people want and can use, and do that. You don't have to, it might not be what you love, but you are building a business. If you want to work with drivers, you're going to have to give drivers and businesses and teams what they want and what they can use to market.
And like,
so I told him to do that, and he did it. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to finish.
Good.
He did it, and he got a couple random drivers to get in. He just showed up to the track. He didn't pre-plan anything. He approached people, DM people after. Kind of the approach we're talking about, but in a better way, because he's actually delivering a usable service. Not like, hey, I shot these, you owe me money. He was kind of like, hey, I have a minute and 30 seconds of color graded footage that is perfect for making reels and content. If you want to buy it, let me know. I shot it, I edited it. It's whatever.
I mean, there's a way to approach everything.
Definitely.
And you don't have to shoot, color grade, chop up, make an edit for somebody. You can do that out of like the kindness of your heart. But if you send a driver raw, you can send them like uncut video and make them do all the work for cutting up their reels, because the video can be repurposed so many different ways.
Definitely.
Like, we still pull stuff. I can still pull stuff from Texas and like reorder it and tell a whole different story with all the stuff from Texas, and continue to use that almost indefinitely, because we have 40 minutes of footage to pull from. Like, Atlanta's going to be the same thing. Atlanta, we're going to be able to we are going to be able to use Atlanta content for a very long time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and Deering's a great example, because for the initial testing of the Ajuku car and last year's testing even, Deering comes out and he shoots for me and we pay him. and he literally sent me 7 minutes worth of footage, and it was all color graded.
Yep.
And I had to manually chop up the clips, and we paid him for like, hey, that's how much footage I have, that's how much you want for it, whatever. And then I just looked at the footage and I was like, okay, and now I'm gonna go in CapCut and chop all of these up into individual clips so that I have them organized into individual clips. And then I'll just sit in here and reorder it and make a testing day edit myself, and then Instagram audio it, and then I'm done.
Yep.
And that's my favorite thing is when people do stuff like that. And I definitely want to get Deering out there for the next test session so that
I would love to shoot with
you
him.
guys can shoot with each other and he can kind of teach you some video stuff because his
Every
video
time-
shit is next level. It's
Anytime
pretty
we've
sweet.
shot like together, it's always been him doing video and like me doing photo stuff, like whether it be showing out at the compound or like even like OSW. Like every time I see him, it's been like, holy shit, you're still out here doing that. Like it's an extended period of time between it, like sites, but like I don't know. I like working around him. He's cool.
He's a great dude, and I definitely think that he can help us propel things on the video side just because of how much experience he has and how much time he spent doing it.
He's another big brain guy, like
very big brain. We play the sim pretty frequently, and then we're also in like a sim group chat, so we always talk about shit that's going on in the drift scene or just automotive industry or even just completely unrelated shit because it's kind of like a tight knit group of friends. But he's very, very big brain, smart dude.
Very knowledgeable.
Only thing he isn't smart about is he thinks these are shitty. So,
I mean, statistically speaking, it's like the 9th best chassis. So,
damn, you just quoted me from yesterday.
Yep, it sure did.
I don't think I think I undersold it a little bit yesterday. I think it's up there as like a top 5, but depending on what you're using it for, it's certainly not the most competitive, but it's certainly the best for
sell it
seat
all.
time.
Get rid of it all. It's not the best. Get rid of it.
Which, by the way, VQ Wisefab meth missile for sale if anybody wants it.
10.5, nothing less. Minimum.
10.5 minimum. Tommy, take your $6,000 bullshit offer elsewhere. I don't want it. Well, dude, I think we'll pretty much wrap it up there because I want to save some stuff to be able to shoot a second episode after we get back from Atlanta.
That'll be cool.
Because I think Atlanta is going to provide some opportunities and put us in some situations where we can freshly look back and highlight on them on a second episode. And I just think it would be cool. So thank you for coming on for a second time. We already filmed this a long time ago, like a month and a half ago.
Forgot everything.
Yeah. So yesterday we were kind of watching it. We were like, why don't we just refilm your episode tomorrow? And also Ellis, his girlfriend, needs to get on the sim. So it kind of worked out good.
Yeah, she needs to train.
Yeah.
She needs to lock in.
Yeah. She needs to lock the fuck in. But yeah, dude, thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Off Grid Podcast. I was very happy to bring on our media guy, one of my best friends, Jacob Ballard. So yeah, you're welcome. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And then thank you, of course.
Yeah, of course.
We'll be back for round 2. Hell yeah. That was
sick.
Sick.